what's, over the past 20, 30 years, we've seen generations go on welfare, stay on welfare, their kids are on welfare, their grandkids are on welfare, through these entitlement programs that the government sets up. What are your feeling, on entitlement programs? What should go? How should things change? That's a lot of money going out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, another big issue: the third rail of politics, which has gotten us. I don't like referring to it as a third rail of politics, but at this point in time, we have to address this. Because we have a burden right now of $108 trillion of unfunded liability and debt that is caused primarily from Social Security and Medicare, the two biggest programs out there that cause this debt. Now, I do have an idea in my plan that we have to get away from the entitlement programs. First off, in my humble opinion, the Congress that established these programs they didn't have the authority to establish such programs anyway. Entitlement programs it's a socialization of medical programs and of the cradle to grave mentality. I don't think it's really constitutionally adequate to consider that they had the authority. Nonetheless, it's there, and it's been instilled in a population for Social Security for 80 years. Now, right now, we're at a point where it's upside down, and has been upside down. There are more people going on Social Security than there are people paying it. And the minute that happens, it's bound to collapse. We do need to change the mores of people and what it's all about. I think it deals with personal responsibility. Some of these issues go really deep into personal responsibility. But unfortunately, we have ingrained this way of life into people that this is what it's supposed to be. It's always supposed to be there for us. And unfortunately, we have to deal with it. My view is that over a course of 30 to 40 years, we're going to have to eliminate the programs. And in doing so, we have to lower the cost of health care, obviously, and do it in a reasonable manner so people can afford it. But we also have to allow people to save their money over the course of their lifetime in a secure and very unobtrusive manner that the United States government cannot get their hands on it. Because they've proven over time that as soon as the politicians get their little greedy hands into pots of money such as that, like the Social Security fund, when it was removed out of the lockbox and put into a general fund, they would spend every penny of it that they could. And now what's there? IOUs. How are you going to pay people with an IOU?
Let's say you go to Washington, and all of a sudden you've got all these lobbyists, telling you all these great things so that you will conform. Mm-hmm. So, number one, how do you stop yourself from being, sucked into the system and get your point across to the people who are there that may have forgotten what needs to be done with the Constitution is, how can you, what's a strategy?
Well, first off, lobbyist. Let's address the lobby issue first. I would never want to preclude anybody's right for being able to lobby their elected representative, whether that person is a person or an entity, i.e. a business. Mm-hmm. But you're right, it poses a huge problem. What I think really one way to fixing that edge, or that part of it, is that lobbyists should only be able to lobby a specific representative within the district that he represents, not in Washington, if you understand what I mean. But as an example, Harry Reid's sitting in Washington. Let's say the pharmaceutical company wants to lobby him for whatever in this healthcare bill. Don't want to have any restrictions on the cost of whatever medication. Right now, they can enter into his office in Washington, D.C., and they can lobby all day long. Well, how about if he has to be inside his district? That means they have to put people in his district, and he has to be in his district. Makes it a little bit more difficult to influence people when you just can't get to them. So it's a kind of a little creative way that we thought might be beneficial. Would it be acceptable to a lot of people? Probably not. But sometimes you have to do things that are a little off the beaten path, and you have to make it a little difficult for people out in the real world to get to those elected politicians. Now, I think as far as the issue of changing how an individual views their responsibilities to their electorate and their constituents is a totally different subject. I think we have a different class of people that are running the country right now. I don't consider them as being patriots because I don't think that they have the best interests of the nation truly at heart. I think they're self-serving and they're greedy, and quite frankly, if some of us did some of the things that they did, we would probably be sitting in front of a judge trying to explain exactly why we did those things. Now, I feel for myself, it's a matter of integrity. I let my faith guide me, I let my family guide me, and I let the founders guide me. I think they were right. They crafted a beautiful document that has survived for over 200 years. And they had some wisdom. And that wisdom is that men can be corrupted, but there is ultimately one way to eliminate that corruption. You elect them out of office by putting somebody else in their place.